Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Walkthrough Wednesday. It is part 2 of our stock plugins track from scratch. It's an absolute nightmare, to be honest. I rely so heavily on third-party stuff. It's insane. You know, Arts Acoustic is my bae, and I'm really struggling without her. But you know what? I'm making use of Reverb 2, and we're gonna get there in the end. It's gonna take a little bit longer than usual, I would say, but we are going to get there in the end. I have changed the track a little bit because the synth just wasn't doing it for me. Usually I record these like straight after each other, but I've left a week in between, and I think it's good for me to like come back a week later and really evaluate it. And I can see that the synth just wasn't working, so I've switched it up with a more old school hard dance, hard rave kind of screechy sound. Before we get into that, some of you will remember I did a one-off auction with High Life a while ago of one of my ID tracks. I gave one lucky guy or girl the chance to own this track and release it themselves. But the sale didn't go through in the end. The winner didn't just disappeared. So I'm kind of glad, because what I'm going to do is put it on my selfie page, along with, that's the place where I put all my project files. If you don't know, I'm starting to do project files now. I find that I've had a lot of good response over the years when I've put out a project file for my patrons, and it seems to really help them out. And especially things like this, where you're not using any VSTs, you can actually take the project and see how I make stuff and actually change stuff as well. You have the ability to modify stuff as well. So that track will be available on my selfie page probably within the next few days, so stay tuned for that one. You can download it, you can do whatever you want with it. Obviously, I will release the song for my patrons only, exclusive for those guys. I'll give you guys the WAV file of the master and stuff, but the actual project file will be available for it's not just for one person, this is for as many of you that want to download it. So head over there when it drops. I'm going to try and drop it on Thursday, so go and grab that if you want. It's a really cool track that I just never found the time to finish, really. So you might take it and finish it yourself. There's a lot of guys out there wants the track, so yeah, it could be something good for yourself as well. Let's get back into the project. Now, this is a big room techno fusion, right? You know, with the big room elements, we've got the big room leads, the big room one shots, the big room processing, all that stuff. You know, in usual hard techno, you do get these screechy sounds. In usual techno, you don't really get these like top leads and stuff. But with hard techno, I think that's where a lot of the guys, you know, Maddox, Will Sparks, it's kind of taken their sound, because it's a very, very good sound. It's also very close to big room. If you listen to old big room and hard techno, there's elements that are very similar. Big kicks, simple melodies. As you can see, this is super simple, and driving bass lines, right? So it's a nice little combination of like psytrance, big room, and all those kind of genres. Old school rave as well. So this is what we have. The new lead is this one. It is a one shot I found from one of the packs from the Blur packs. Shout out to the boys Blur. BL3R made some of the best big room packs back in the days. This is the sound, which you can't hear. This one just reminds me of real old school hard dance, and this is obviously what I'm really into, the old school hard dance sound. But if you take away all the processing that we did last time, it's crazy. This is what the sound is like on its own. So if we start putting our processing on, so that's what we did last week, so go and check that. These are all 100% FL Studio stock plugins. Nothing fancy going on here, but we used the new plugin Destructor and just literally destroyed the sound. It sounds so good now. This thing here, it seems to be like 4 choruses on top of each other, whatever this preset was. But yeah, it really does the job, and it transforms the sound. This is a sound which is very hard, again, for people to copy, to emulate. It's going to be hard for them to work out the Destructor preset that I use, for example, whereas most guys will just take a sound, add Camel Crusher, that's it. They won't distort the sound in any way, and in 2021 you need to do that in order to stand out. So I'll give you a little run through of what we have. it's pretty simple, but because we've got a driving bass line, we can get away with that. My track Silence, the second drop, was really well received, and all that was bump, 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 bump. This simple melody, but because we have that driving bass line, it's rhythmic, but it's also heavy. So what I want to do is create more of a fake drop here. So I might introduce the bass line earlier. So we've got this like gap here, but what I might do is stick an EQ. Now I need to remember to not. By the way, this plugin, Toxic Biohazard, created a sick bass line. That with the Destructor giving a bit of like bit crush, insane. So what we're going to do is stick a parametric EQ. Now I need to remember to stay away from Pro Q3. But maybe we can do something cool with this, like a fake bass drop. Let's see how that sounds. Yeah, I like that. I like how it kind of starts with no sound, like kind of no low frequencies at all, and the lows kind of come in like this. That kind of hard style, UK hardcore kind of pre-drop, it's a very commonly used technique. We're just going to have the EQ on. In this section, we're going to turn it off. So we're going to start here, and it's going to go like this. I think it would be also a cool drop to have something just as simple as this. So we don't want to have all the low end though. I think this for an intro drop. Right, so that's our intro fixed. I think we're going to do a little bit of a 15 seconds. Yeah, let's go 15 seconds and then a little build up, and then we go into this first drop, which will be super simple. And then I think this will be drop 1. We'll call it drop 2. So the first one, intro drop, will be drop 1. This will be drop 2. Drop 3, we're going to do something hopefully a little bit crazy. Maybe add a hardstyle kick, try and do some big room kind of melody. With this sound, it might be tough. But anyway, this will be the second drop. So is there anything else we need to do here? Obviously, the build-up needs a bit of work. We need to try and figure out a breakdown as well. But this sounds pretty cool. We need to fix the reverb also because the pattern has changed from the last episode. So we need to change the reverb of it. So we're going to draw like this. Let's zoom in a little bit on this. So when the actual note hits, we're going to duck the reverb again. And we're just going to carry this on all the way up to the next synth shot. And then we're going to go down again to the lower amount of reverb. Same for that. Boom. Like that. So let's see how that reverb sounds now. Get a bit more of a bend on that automation there. But that is pretty much going to be it now. See how it's creating movement, and movement is what you want to do with when you're using a sample. It's very static, very. Is this the word? I hope this is the right word. Stagnant. If not, I just look like an idiot. But if it's right, I look smart. So it's very boring basically, and what the reverb does is creates movement. Okay, so that's a crazy effect. So it is pretty much sidechaining everything here, and this sounds pretty nice. I wonder if we can get away with this. reverb is fixed now. We need to create some more delay on this lead, I think. It's just not epic enough. So we've already got a delay 3. Maybe we'll put on a delay 2 for like a longer delay. Free delay 2. So one I used to use back in the day. That's crazy. Maybe we can link this to the controller as well. So it will be on this, and we're going to invert it and see how that sounds, and maybe it cleans it up a little bit. So what I'm doing is just like reducing the amount of high frequencies you can hear on the delayed signal. So it just doesn't, so it allows the main shot to take the forefront of the mix, and these delays are just slightly more in the back. Does sound a lot bigger. I think we could push the stereo a little bit more as well. Drop the volume a bit. Okay, pretty nice, pretty nice. I think we can also do the same kind of effect on the lead as well. So what we're going to do is the same technique as we said before, that hard style kind of pre-drop effect. We're going to start like this. Probably start from there, and we're just going to draw an automation like this. Like that. And as always, we only want it to be on this section, and then we're going to get rid of it when the drop hits, because we want that full process lead to be in there. Okay, so that sounded pretty cool now. We need a sweep here, though, because, you know, we've kind of killed that energy there. We need a big sweep because we're taking away a lot of frequencies from the lead. So, you know, taking away frequencies technically lends to leads towards losing energy. So we're going to try and get a sweep in there just to indicate that it is a transition. Sweep up, medium. Oh, that one's sick. Don't think it's going to fit though, unfortunately. Oh. Works. I think it works. We need another sweep as well, because this is not the kind of sweep that I had in mind, but it works. A bit like the Joy Energizer kind of sweep. I don't think we can get it right bang on, so we'll just do that. Let's find another sweep. A long sweep, I think, is what we need. But like really quiet. That's reverse, kind of ruins it. Now I wonder if there's a Transient plugin within FL Studio, because that would be really good. I'm missing that Transient click. I want to use Transient Master so bad, but see if there's anything in here that can help. So we found a Transient processor. I've never used this before, so let's see. Oh, listen to that click. Big fan of that, man. Damn, see the little plugins that you would never think to use are just so good. See, that is an alternative if you don't have Transient Master. Use Transient Processor. I just use it on the presets because I haven't used it a lot, but it's quite clear there. There's the attack, there's the drive, probably distorted a little bit as well, but it's just really give the sound a real big attack there. So I am really impressed with this first drop now. It's starting to feel like it's not the most creative drop, right? This sound, it's just about tracks that bang in a club. People are like, oh, like that drop is sick. With Big Room, you never really get that experience anymore. People aren't like, oh, that's a sick drop. They're just like, oh, this crazy sound design, crazy melodies. But with these kind of tracks, the Will Spark stuff, it really catches you off guard, and that's why I'm so drawn to the sound. Now for the breakdown, we are going to try and use a one-shot sample, which we have here. It's the old school vocal, the old school rave sound that I've been using in pretty much most of my tracks, you know, Raves Our Religion, etc. And what we're going to do is try and create some chords with it, because I don't have any great VSTs to use. We'll explore some of them, but what I want to do is try and get something laid down. So what we're going to do is try and modify this sound so that it just becomes whatever, however long I play the note, that's how long it'll be. We're going to look for some chords as well. I don't have all day, so we're going to look for some trance chords. Trance kind of blends in nicely with Big Room nowadays. A lot of people are kind of doing that sound, so I think it would fit really well. So let's see if I can find some trance midis. I download a lot of these, buy a lot of these packs because they really help with inspiration. I mean, we can use one of my own midis as well. For example, Rave is Our Religion. Maybe there's some chords in there. Perfect. I absolutely love this, actually. So we're just going to draw this. We're going to elongate these. And here is our chords. Now, I don't know what key we're in. We are in E. So I need to go back here and make sure we are in E. This is the root note, so I know that this is in E. Now, a little trick that I'm going to do here is do that. It's not very smooth, so what I'm going to do is modify it within here as well. It's still not very smooth, so what I'm going to do is add a gross beat. Gross beat is just great for ARPs and gates, sorry. So I've got the sick gate preset here. And we're going to do one of these. Let's try it in a lower octave. So we're going to get the good old fruity reverb up here as well to make it sound more smooth. So this can be our break kind of main sound. I think it's pretty nice. We also have that little top melody as well. So in the breakdown. So it'll be like this. It's going to have a big impact, right? We need a big impact there. Do we have one? Rave is Our Religion one can work. And with this, we're going to filter up this trance sound. What we want to do is have an EQ as well and add fruity filter also. I still use a fruity filter anyway, so that's good. We're going to drag it over the top and start really low. And we're just going to bring this up gradually. We need to think of the structure of this. So I think we leave that. Then we have a sub bass come in there. And then in this part, we can do something else. So let's look for a cool sub bass in one of our FL Studio stock plugins. The one that made the bass line for the drop is probably the one I'm going to go to. So I don't know what I've done there. I'm going to create a new one and put that there. Toxic Biohazard, that's the one. So what I'm going to do is just duplicate that, add on our bass notes, and just put this on a separate mixer track. So I'm not going to EQ it the same way. And we don't want this kind of pattern either. We just want to elongate the notes. Just like this. Cool little Reese. Not so good in the low tones though. This is where I would want Serum. This is not the best for bass lines. Now I just want to make sure this shot is in key as well. So what we can do is drag it over the top. So this isn't actually in key. It was in F, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7th note. So it still works.